off, I want to congratulate you all. Watching growing up was such a pleasure. It was emotionally provocative, and I have two young kids that fall between the ages of 18 and 22. And I can't tell you how relevant this was and how important this kind of programming is. It made me think. It was just so creative in the approach and the cinematic approach that you took to the show. Can you take me through that creative process and tell me how you guys decided to shoot that way?
We were up against a lot of time and budget constraints. We thought we also were one of the victims of a COVID production in which we were supposed to be out in the world following young people going through pivotal moments, like out in the field. And then COVID happened and it was like, can you do it in a studio? And we're like, can we do it in a studio? I don't know. And so we went back to the drawing board, and Kishori was one of the first producers that I brought on, and we ended up directing an episode together as well. But we, in the producer's room, really had to think about how we were going to bring these stories to life. And we ended up getting an incredible DP, Christine Ng, and production designer, Emmeline Wilkes-Dupont. And both of them really helped us envision what this could be. And what symbolic visuals we were going to be able to take. And so Emmeline created these sets that were able to transform from episode to episode to episode. And then the set dressing obviously changed per person, but it almost was like, that's the bones of growing up. And then everything that kind of came on top of that became the world in which you were diving into. And so then, and Christine was really passionate about color theory and had a specific kind of color palette picked out for everybody. And she's just an incredible cinematographer in her own right for all the things that she does. But to this, she really brought in an incredible lighting designer who together, I think they really shaped the cinematic, symbolic, metaphorical visuals that you see.
It was so moving, and definitely the color palettes. And I noticed all the nuances and all the details. And it was so powerful, emotionally, as well as just relevant and important. And I think this is going to be such a big hit, this show. I think the kids are really going to be able to relate to it. I think as an adult, I could relate to it and remembering what I went through during that age time period. And, with the climate the way it is, like just getting through COVID and all the different, things that these kids have to deal with in terms of social media these days and bullying and acceptance, there's a lot. And I really was impressed. I took a lot away from it. What could you personally take away from it?
I'll let Ashley or Smriti or Kishori or Gavin jump in.
Well, actually, one thing I'd quickly add is like the heroes of the show are so amazing. But I also think for me, what was the real learning experience was watching or meeting the parents or like the sort of ancillary characters of these heroes. I co-directed Alex's episode of Nicole, and I feel like I learned so much from her mom. Like it's very scary, right? When your daughter, who you adore and is so bright and engaged with the world, all of a sudden is depressed, and you don't quite know why, and you don't quite know what's going on. I can imagine such a scary thing. And to be able to just watching her interview of how she held space first for her to receive what her daughter was saying, and before sort of addressing her own fear of it, was actually a really good lesson of just like, how do you be there for someone going through something, was actually, I feel like I learned some tips for, not just for when I'm in a hard place, but when people in my life are in a hard place, how do I be a better partner, friend, daughter, sister, for that?
No, absolutely. And that absolute element of the parenting is where I could really relate as well. Coming in as being that age and then knowing what it's like. And then also from the flip side of having a kid that's vibrant and then seeing them go through depression, it's devastating. And yeah, you can take a lot from the show and walk away with some helpful hints and tips on how to actually handle this and be a better parent and be more understanding. Absolutely. Yes. Ashley, what did you take away from the whole experience?
Yeah, I mean, it was life-changing. It was an amazing experience to have disability as part of the conversation, and something that the team actually, it wasn't me in meetings like begging people to include disabled stories and characters. It was an email that I got where they wanted to include a disabled character in this. And it's so empowering to have that story be part of this like diverse group of people. And Emily is incredible, and the community she creates for disabled teens is so. I wish there was something like that for me when I was growing up. I grew up with so much shame having a disability. And, her episode also enlightened me to how our culture is truly ableist, and how to even things that I do as a disabled person, how I can even have ableist tendencies, and understanding that that's just kind of the culture. I think there was a lot of shame for me that was lifted when I realized, like, we're born into an ableist society, and it's all of us that are part of the problem, and kind of unpacking it and showing these stories is a way for people to understand, oh, that's what I'm doing. That's probably not right. So that it was really powerful.
Yeah, it was very powerful. And I was very impressed with everything you did. And I love that were so hands-on in directing each episode. And you could see all the emotion that went into producing each and every episode. And I was moved by each and every one. So I want to thank you all for producing this kind of programming. It's so relevant and so needed right now.